What the are you doing here, little buddy? Have a rest. Just relax. Take a load off your feet.
Welcome to Antimatters. Hello everyone. Up today we have part 4 and the final episode of this year's Ant Cave tour. We'll have a brief look at some of my ants in tanks and also a good look at the Pogonomyrmex barbatus. Let's go into the bioactive multi-species natural imitation temperate formicarium, aka the natty setup. I consider this my greatest achievement in ant keeping setups to date. Currently, there's 3 species of ants thriving inside, along with multiple centipede, woodlice, essentially everything you'd find in nature they have inside of this tank because I keep grabbing bits of moss and logs from out in the woods. There's a variety of beetles that emerge throughout the year to accompany the ants for a time as well. Right now, the Formica fusca are the dominant ant force inside of this setup though. This is a switch around from pre-May when the rubra were the controlling force dominating most of the food sources. The odd rubra does surface every now and again though, reminding you of their presence. They're experts in stealth and seem to pop out of nowhere. I've no idea where they're currently residing, to be honest. There's multiple species of centipede in here as well. These long ones are my favourite. They get over 3 inches long sometimes and are really chill. They've recently had kids, so there's loads of little babies too. In the plant department, everything's grown superb now it's summer. The fusca fully utilise the plants and are always scouting them. If a leaf touches the roof, then they're getting out of the setup. That's not really an issue with them though, because they're native. So we got fusca and rubra in here. The final species in this triple multi-species is Plagiolepis pygmea. They're very hard to spot because they're minuscule, but I added them shortly after I moved the Tetramorium chispitum. The test tube was failing them, and this was a final gamble. They seem to be alive though, which is good. Hopefully they won't cause any disruptions, but little is known about them. My 10 queen colony didn't grow in over 2 years, so I'm not expecting much, but they seem pretty peaceful so far. Here's a size comparison between a rubra. You can see how tiny they are. This tank's going to get a dedicated episode sometime this summer. It's so alive and dynamic at the moment, I think it needs one. Keeping to the theme of ants living in tanks, let's check out the acros. They've been devils recently, escaping by the 1,000. And I had free-range acros for a couple of weeks. Till I had an atter escape, then they all disappeared. Recently though, long story short, so many of the acro got out, the population took a bump. With them shrinking instead of growing, I took away their recent expansion. I can only describe them as little bastards though. They then decided they would build a fungus in the outworld. I'm partly to blame here, as I should have expected this. Paul, aka Ants Ramblings, gave me some herb chip, I think it's called. His acros are almost magnetically attracted to it, and they go wild in the substrate, so I thought I'd see if they'd take some into the nest, so I sprinkled a little bit into the outworld. It fell on top of some stems, and I thought nothing more of it. Instead of taking it into their nest though, they went all Mother Russia and took the nest to the substrate. They built a roof with the assistance of some leaves and cotton wool stuff. It's like 70% humidity inside of the incubator, and I'm guessing roughly the same inside of that open tank area. But nevertheless, the fungus is booming big time. It's so white and healthy. I really enjoy the acros though, despite their rebellious tendencies. They're clean, easy to feed and control most of the time, and they cultivate fungus and eat flowers. So far I've found only one negative. They don't return home very fast. When they escape, they can happily spend weeks out on the loose before attempting to return ever crosses their mind. At least they don't go far though. Accompanying their fungus in the outworld is some more super healthy fungus in the pod. Luckily, they haven't given up on the pods, otherwise I'd be in trouble. I was a little disheartened that the acros rejected my pod too, but the atters really appreciated it. They're such sweethearts. Back to the ungrateful Acromyrmex octoscancosis though. I was filming a time-lapse of their mediocre, ungrateful cutting prowess when, oh my god, ground control, this is Bravo Sierra 69, come in, we have a Black Swan event in progress. I repeat, Black Swan event in progress, send everything.
Soldiers, as of 1500 hours! Today every nation on the planet was made aware of a Black Swan event. This triggered Protocol 43. You understand what this means? Soldiers! Yes, sir! All regular and reserve troops are being sent to Devon in the United Kingdom to contain the threat. You will be representing this troop alongside over 5 million troops from 86 nations. So I expect the best. Understand? Yes, sir! Mission contained. F, E, at any cost. Failure to do so will result in immediate and complete nuclear bombardment.
She's a real big one. Oh, fuck.
This is Queen Effie, the mother of Mexico, chopper of leaves, breaker of stems, blessed ruler of the free pod queendom. I haven't seen this absolute unit in what must be 2 years, so to have her visible was an absolute dream come true. After a few months of having this colony, their golf ball sized fungus grew to about the size of a mango, and she moved inside, never to be seen again. I'd accepted it would happen, so I really appreciated those first few months of visibility. She then disappeared. After not seeing her for 2 years though, she hasn't aged a day. Every hair is where it should be. She seems very well fed and overall very healthy. The camera can't really convey how huge she is as well. Basically, she's a genuine wow every time. The type of mind blow wow a caveman would get off a 4K AMOLED smartphone screen. Or an escalator. The scale is just mind fumbling. Your brain just can't handle it. It's an ant, but an ant can't be that big. Therefore, it cannot be an ant. But it is an ant. She's really mesmerising though, a natural wonder, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with ants. The rest of the colony is doing brilliant by the way. That's all for the atta though, time for the pogos. It's been months since I made a video on them, because, well, I was saving them for AntCon, but that's happened now. If you didn't go to AntCon, this colony was on show there. Thank you to all the lovely people at AntCon as well for all the positive feedback on the colony too. It's really nice to know that people enjoyed them. The colony was doing really well though, and after all of the travelling, they were still doing really well. They took it like an absolute champ. This colony is showing no sign of slowing. Their growth may be a little bit slower than the Mesobarbarus, but it's a lot steadier, which I prefer. I think in a lot of ways the pogos are far superior to the Mesobarbarus as well. They're a lot tidier, they make their really nice tidy trash piles, they don't attract too many mites. They also have a more versatile diet. They definitely seem to enjoy their sugar water. The only thing the pogos are lacking in is the polymorphism. However, you do get different sized workers. Here you can see on the left, the little worker is at least half the size of the big girl there. It's just not as extreme as Mesobarbarus. I'd take these girls though, any day over Mesobarbarus. Sorry William Hobo Messer and family. You just don't compare though to these little rubies, and they're so hairy. This colony has been chucking out a steady stream of brood now since February too. The egg pile, despite looking semi-small, seems to be plenty to produce all of the larvae, and especially when you see all of the pupae. That's kind of the biggest sizable chunk of all of their population, but it seems to be plenty to produce all of this. Currently, I'd estimate as well that there's at least 10 new workers every week. It could be closer to 20 though. Every time I look in, which is about, well, once a week, I give them a good peek. But there's at least 10 creamy little workers in there, at least. All of this growth though demanded an upgrade, and at AntCon I sorted out a few things. Here we have the medium nest from Antantics. I also got a little 4-way connector. This is so I can connect the other bit which needs a little bit of space away from the nest. The giant outworld, well, it's a large one, but it's pretty big. The outworld was going to require a little bit of building though. It took me 34 minutes to put it together, and I was going pretty slow. I wasn't like rushing as fast as I could. I reckon if you really went for it though, you could probably build one of these within probably 25 minutes. I applied an oil barrier this time too, instead of my usual quick dry PTFE, to avoid cracking the acrylic. It was so pretty I didn't want to ruin it. With the outworld put together, I then capped up the right bits on the 4-way connector and plugged it in. The medium nest didn't require any construction, however I should have flicked the lid a little bit. There was some sand that had flicked up in transit, which had kind of stuck to the ceiling a bit. It's nothing that can't be fixed with the ants inside though, but it does disturb them a little bit. They don't care, to be honest though. With everything ready to go though, I started sizing it all up. Originally I was going to put the new outworld where the current outworld is, with that connection there. At the last minute though, I changed my mind. I knew where I was going to put the medium nest, so I decided to put that on quickly. I prepared the old nest by unscrewing the little cap bit. I was then ready to quickly slide on the new nest. And that's exactly what I did. It went on piece of cake. No ants managed to escape. I was super happy with how easy it was. Immediately on connecting it, the ants were inside of it as well, exploring. This will hopefully become their new main brood chamber. As I said though, I was going to put the outworld where the old one is. However, I decided I'm going to put it at the other end of the nest, where the seed chamber is. This has less ants in it. Again, like the first connection, putting this one on was super easy. All you really have to be is quick and have everything ready. I had cotton balls as backup as well, all ready to go, but with a little swish, it was done. Once I did up these 2 bolts, the whole setup was, well, pretty much ready to go. And if it wasn't for that old outworld, I'd be able to lift the whole setup up off just one piece now. It's all connected up. The new outworld looked a little bit bare too, so I decided to give these girls a special tower. It's got my AntCon coin on it, which I got at AntCon obviously, and I gave them a seed feeder and a water feeder. I then got to work on disconnecting the old outworld. This went pretty smooth. To try and make it a little bit easier, I decided to position some cotton wool between the connector and the inside of the nest as well. This meant I could take off the connector, but none of the ants would be able to escape. Another quick 1-2 though. The cap was in and the nest was sealed. It went so easy, it was just the best. The only part of the move left was moving all of the ants out of the old outworld into the new one, but with the super booter that was super easy. It took about maybe I think 1.5 minutes, and I'd hoovered up all of the Pogonomyrmex barbatus out of their old setup. I then just tipped them straight into the old outworld. This was a huge mistake though, and I can't believe I did it. I should have tipped them into something else first and then hoovered them up again or something, because I just sprinkled loads of trash into my lovely, sparkly, pristine, new outworld. There was only one thing to do really, and that was to try and hoover up as much as I could, but I knew deep down in my heart that this outworld would probably never be as clean as it was before I tipped that trash into the outworld. At least the ants didn't care as much as me though. They got straight to work playing in their new palace. I've got to say, I'm absolutely loving the Ant Antics modular stuff as well. This setup is a genuine dream come true. I'm so happy I tried Pogos for a second time now. Anyway, that's about it for the Ant Cave tour. I hope you've enjoyed this little look at all of my ant species. I hope I managed to capture their personality a little bit as well. If you've got any questions about any of the ants or ant keeping stuff, drop them down in the comments too. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, may your ants live long and prosper. Have a fabulous week, and bye!